Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast, sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishing and Mattress Gallery, Global Septic, and AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. And we've got a lot of bracketology stuff to talk about. We've got a lot of district finals and wrestling action to talk about. We're going to discuss Kody's beef with the referee, some low-scoring affairs, but we're going to start it off with a discussion. I threw this out off mic before we got started. Is the District 4 2B championship what I call the greatest setting in Lewis County sports? I think it is. And we discussed this a little bit last week with Chad Kramer and Chris Banish. But yeah, I think it is. And why I think it is because, as seen in your photos, there is it is a packed house with a variety of people from all over. And in that game, that packed house at Chehalis, where representatives from every District 4 school, essentially, were on hand to witness the spectacle that was Napavine versus Adna boys and Napavine versus Rainier girls. Kody, you were at the center of attention for a brief shining moment. Would you care to discuss?
Do I need to explain this?
Well, speaking of the mic.
Okay, I guess I have to explain this, but I was just doing my job, Aaron, taking photos.
Go on.
At the beginning of the game, I was... Probably some officials don't mind and some do, but I was on the mat behind the hoop, not like directly under the hoop, but kind of off to the side. And they somewhat politely asked me to move, so I did. I moved out about 10 feet further towards the three-point line, and I thought I was good. And I'm pretty sure it was like halfway through the second quarter I was there, and it was the second time Carson Denault had a breakaway dunk. It was like one of the coolest moments of the game, and he hung on the rim for a little bit, and this guy blows the play dead from like half court, starts just running towards me. He's like waving his arms around in the air and maybe his legs a little bit. Like he was very excited to make this call. I thought he was going to tee up Denault for hanging on the rim for a little bit, and he just points at me. He just yells, "You need to move!" And he's just
so everybody in the gym was just staring at you.
And I didn't really. It took me a while to kind of grasp that too. I was just like, "Huh?"
Wow.
So yeah, and then apparently, come to find out, the rule is you're supposed to be outside of the volleyball line when you're taking photos, which in my almost a year of sports photography, no one has ever told me that.
I feel like it's typically more up to the official's discretion than
I think so too.
Set
I also
stone.
think they could have asked me to move, and I would have without.
Could have been nice about it instead of making it a whole thing.
Yeah,
just turn it into a spectacle.
Yeah, and I don't really care that much. Like I just moved.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Shout out the group behind the Adna bench that booed the referee.
Yeah, shout out Salmi too. He had my back.
Wow, what a way to make the entire event about you and not the hardworking young men and women from Napavine who won those district titles. You.
Yeah, that was my plan. That's why I stayed there, just to make it all about me.
You should have just ripped
just trying to start shit with the ref.
You should have ripped off your Chronicle hoodie to reveal the Adna basketball throwback jersey underneath, and then like flipped everybody the bird and ran out the back door. that would have really done the trick.
Maybe I should. I wasn't wearing any of my Chronicle gear. Maybe I should have been. He didn't know who he was messing with.
Yeah, I'm sure that would have made all the difference in the world. Anyway.
It's a good cold open, I guess.
Yeah, that was great. After a hectic 2 weeks, district tournaments are in the rearview mirror. We've got 5 local district champions. 12 area teams are through to the regional round of the state tournament. And are we still calling it the regional round? What is the proper nomenclature these days?
A lot of people are just calling it state.
I hate that.
I've heard both.
I always thought of state as the actual tournament.
Well, for a while they were calling it
before.
Yeah, but like once the next round, it's not a tournament; it's a playoffs. A tournament is where you are in, and there's a set number. Like the final 8 teams are in an actual tournament where you can lose once and then keep playing.
Yeah,
I think these are just playoffs.
Okay.
Anyway, I digress.
But it's the state playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure if there is a right answer, to be honest, because I've heard coaches say both, where state is Spokane and Yakima. And
yeah.
I've just been kind of referring to it interchangeably when I probably shouldn't be, but
I thought they dropped regionals for some reason. Like, I don't think, is that on the brackets?
I think it's officially the opening round, but all the coaches have called it regionals.
Yeah, keep it a regional. It's too confusing to explain. I was updating stories from Saturday on Sunday with information on seedings. And just typing out those 2 long paragraphs, they are automatically entered into Spokane. However, if they lose the opening round state playoff game, they will play another loser-out game on Wednesday in Spokane. It's like, oh my God, how tedious.
I was talking to a buddy who works in Nevada and covers high school sports down there about all this, and he was like, he was like, wow, you'll never believe what we do down here for our 16-team tournaments. And I go, is it just a normal 16-team bracket? He goes, yes.
Yeah, that's what we used to have that here.
When did it change?
Oh, 2011, maybe? Because I think PL won a state title in 2010, and they were like the last true 16-team state tournament champions. I think they went to regionals or some. They did something else for a little while, and then before it got to the current regional situation.
As someone who loves doing the if this happens then this, and if this happens then this game, I don't mind it, but I could see how for like the casual fan, it's very hard to follow.
It's the kind of my beef with it since they've done it is you can't just explain it to somebody like on an elevator ride. If you have to like sit there and really, but then
you have to bring up the bracket to explain the bracket.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Like you can't just explain it to your aunt who casually follows, some team from Willapa Valley. She's like, "What the hell are you talking about? This isn't how state works." I went to the state tournament 50 times. It was never like this. And you're like, "Well, that's not how it goes anymore." Anyway, do you want to start with wrestling or basketball? Let's hit wrestling real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
Matt Classic 35 took place in the Tacoma Dome, and we had how many finalists did we have? Three, or I want to say 3, 4 if you count the Willapa Valley kid as well. Tyson Portman,
finalist like a state winner or like final 2?
They make the final 4 or the final 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Talking to the mic, Cody.
Sorry,
you were trailing a little bit there. You're drifting. The big winner, Antonio Campos, at 120 pounds, capped his senior year with a championship. He wrestled quite well. And that was good to see. I feel like he's had his freshman year, it must have been, was like a COVID year. Maybe the next, early on in his career, things got all mixed up, and he's been a favorite or a contender for a long time. And it was really cool to see, finally get that. Pretty sweet.
Yeah, and he's kind of been that guy for the Tigers all year. They've been a young team that's been up and down, but Campos has been the staple. I mean, what was his final record? 43-2. Going into every duel, you knew that he would more than likely win, and it's fitting for him to go out on top.
I think the duel I went to, his match was over within minutes. He's clearly the best wrestler in the tournament that day.
Yeah, he's very good. Any surprises from Matt Classic?
I was a little surprised that we didn't have a champion from WF West, but we did have 2 finalists in Tucker Land and Andrew Penland.
They were Tucker Land was 175 and Penland was 215.
I believe so.
I think. They both got pretty far. And then Sloan Kruger from Black Hills was a finalist.
I believe so as well.
Yeah. So, pretty good showings up there. Tons of photos in Tuesday's paper. Pick that up. We've essentially got 3 or 4 pages of wrestling photos and content.
You want to talk about wrestling photos? Check out the website.
Yeah, is there a lot of photos on the internet?
Josh Hart, John Anders, and Katya Hudson. I hope I pronounced your first name right for helping us out up there. So
yeah, they got a lot of good stuff. But next year, I heard Cody's going. He's going to be the full-time wrestling man. That's what we're saying.
Next year, speaking of weird tournament, well, I guess this wouldn't be a weird tournament format. I've heard rumblings that they're going to 3 days. A 3-day tournament next year. They might be getting rid of regionals.
For wrestling?
So what they might do.
They're just going to do it all at the Dome?
I don't think any of this is official yet, but from what I've heard, they're going to make each weight class a 32-man or woman bracket. Yeah. And then in the week, if they get rid of regionals, they'll have a spare week. They're talking about possibly doing a team duel state tournament, which
that's interesting.
Could be more. We were talking about kind of being easy for more casual viewers to follow, just like a straight up team duel tournament. Might be the case.
Would it just be like your team does a duel, and if you win, you move on in the bracket?
And there'd be team champions, as opposed to now where the team standings are determined by how your individual wrestlers do and the points and all that.
That would be actually probably a lot more interesting to follow.
Yeah, none of that's official, but those are some rumblings I've heard from
that would make a lot more
coaches
sense.
And other people around.
State championship duels would go pretty crazy.
I could see state championship, I don't know, like a dual wrestling tournament like that. I feel like it wouldn't work. It would take forever.
And what if you have a couple kids at some weight classes that just aren't good and they wouldn't be in state anyways? It would just drag your team down.
Yeah, and how many times are you wrestling a day to make that happen? Yeah. Which I guess you do in tournaments anyway, but I don't know. Yeah. I feel like the healthiest team by the end would probably win it.
And that would have to be like the week before, like it would take place. Yeah. That idea definitely sounded like it was more in like its infancy stages, whereas like I do think it's going to go to a 3-day format. Maybe as soon as next year in terms of the actual official Mat Classic.
They're going to need like up to like 40 mats.
Yeah, that's the issue I have with changing the Mat Classic is that I don't hear too many people complaining about like, well, this tournament format sucks. Everybody involved is like, yeah, Mat Classic's great. Like, it's awesome. You can see everybody. It takes 2 days. If you're getting a trophy, you make it to Saturday. Like, it's cut and dry. I don't. Do you need to change it?
It does seem a little bit like it's making changes for the sake of making changes. I don't know. I'm kind of on your side there, where if it ain't broke,
yeah, like it's fine.
Don't fudge with it. But
yeah. All right, let's talk basketball. We will start, as we always do on the C2BL podcast, with the 2Bs. Napa. Before we get going on this, though, Chad Kramer texted me the other day and said, just so you're aware, I was correct on my picks of which 5 teams will make it to state regionals, whatever you want to call it. He was correct. And those which 5 teams are those? Napa Vine, Tootle Lake, Adna, Chief Leshai, and
Wahkiakum.
Who
had to win the 5th place game, which was a little surprising, but
yeah, they got put in a weird spot. Anyway, Napa Vine swept District 4. Boys and girls both won Saturday in Chehalis. Second straight title for the girls. The boys' first championship since 2011. I remember that game.
Really?
Good one. Yeah, that was like who did they beat? Oh, I don't remember. Tootle Lake, probably. I feel like they were playing Tootle Lake every time back then. But that was like David Lorton, Colton Brown, Reese Stanley team, I want to say. Let's see. Napa Vine's the first school since Adna in 2012 to win both titles in the same season. And then on the girls' side, the Tigers beat Rainier 46-39. The boys beat Adna 69-41 in a game that was close for about 12 minutes. Dylan and Cody were there. Cody, we've already talked about your favorite part of both games. Dylan, which game was more fun to watch?
Definitely the girls' game. Just your classic postseason defensive dominated. And the Napa Vine girls, they came out in the second half on a 10-0 run, and that was really, that was the difference. It kind of carried over. Neither team really ever got going, and it was just Hayden Cow who scored 19, I believe, who got it going in the third, and that was really all it took.
And I think Chad and Banish both talked last week about how the girls' side of this was the more intriguing side. On the boys' side, it was like Napa Vine versus everybody else, and that held up in the finals. How do you think this bodes for Napa Vine going into state?
I think it bodes really well to come out of what I think is the best, at least especially at the top, the best league in the state, at least especially on the west side. And I do believe they got the top seed, which I know we'll get into seeding more later.
Did the boys get the number 1?
The boys did not.
Boys got 2.
Who's number 1?
Would you speak into the...
Who's number 1?
There you go.
Excellent question. Columbia, Burbank.
Okay.
Which I remember Chad and Chris talking about, kind of Napa Vine, Burbank being right there.
They both had a lot of good stuff to say about Burbank.
Yeah.
The Adna boys kept it close, but over the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half, Napa Vine went on a 31-5 run.
That'll do it.
That'll
play. Yeah.
All right.
Part of the reason I think the girls' game was more fun to watch too was like me and Dylan talked about this. How many fouls? How long did it take for both teams to get into the bonus at the beginning of the boys' game?
Oh, it took like 4 minutes.
Yeah, like
it was.
You saying you had an issue with the referees?
No, just the one.
The girls' game, they were letting them play, and I enjoyed it. And then the boys' game, it was very whistle happy early on. They kind of let up as the game went along. The scoreline might have also had something to do with that. Yeah. They just wanted to get out of there. But the girls' game, very physical but clean, just good ball. And you guys mentioned that being the best county setting in Lewis County. For it being my first time, I thought it lived up to the hype. I mean, I saw Black Hills people there. I saw Maz. The Toledo boys and girls stuck around.
You never know who's going to show up.
Anybody and everybody. I think it was either Chris or Chad just kind of joked a couple weeks ago, like everywhere you look, you're just going to see someone you know from somewhere. And I thought that was really cool.
I mean, I was just
really
looking like in the background of Cody's pictures, and I was like, oh yeah, it's Connor Hogue, it's so-and-so. It's,
right.
you know. It's always a cool setting in there. Some other stuff from the 2B tournament. After upsetting Wahkiakum in the quarterfinals, Toledo lost 3 in a row to Miss State. Final loss came in a rematch against the Mules, where the Riverhawks couldn't crawl back from a slow start and lost 68-56. You wanted to hit the button? Good, hit the button. All right.
Before...
oh shit! Sorry, my finger slipped.
The next line is about the Toledo girls, but before we get into the girls, I want to note the boys. So they upset Wahkiakum.
Yeah,
they lose to Adna in the semifinals. Mm-hmm. They have to go down to the lower bracket, obviously, and against Chief Leschi in the winner to state, winner to third place game, they allowed 40 points in the first half.
That's a lot.
And so Grady Fallon on Friday night, he said, tomorrow we are not, like, obviously we can't get off to that slow of a start defensively. Like, we were able to crawl back in the game, but you can't overcome that big of a hole. Fast forward to Saturday, first quarter, Wahkiakum hits 8 threes and scores 32 points.
Yeah.
And there was only so much Toledo could do. I mean, it felt like they didn't miss. They couldn't miss. Toledo actually scored 22, which...
It's not bad.
They came back and almost tied it, didn't they? Like, after that, they climbed back into it. Which is surprising because Wahkiakum was really hot that first quarter. If
Wahkiakum's going to shoot like that, I mean, any team, when they shoot like that, you're not going to be able to be. I mean, that first quarter, I know we'll touch on this later, but that first quarter had more points than the entire 1B girls' third place game.
Well, we'll get to that.
Both teams were just draining. I think it was 11 threes combined in the first quarter. So just kind of a tough break to draw Wahkiakum again, especially when they were shooting like that. But just a tough end of the year for the boys.
And then the Toledo girls made it to the lower bracket semifinals and then lost 2 straight to miss out on state. Good season by both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were right there.
The girls especially, I don't think many people expected them to make it to a winner to state in the final Saturday. So young team, they'll be back for sure.
All right, and then the Adna girls bounced back from their semifinal loss to Rainier by winning 2 straight to finish third. In the third place game, they beat Tudor Lake 52-33. Any thoughts on this one?
If Adna can play defensively like they did in the second half, they'll make it far at state. I think they allowed 3 points in the third quarter, which is when it really blew it open. So, yeah, if they can, obviously, shocker, hot take here, if you could play good defense, you're going to go far. But
what a take.
Right? Really just put me on first take.
Do we want to move on to the 2As, or should we do 2B bracket stuff here too? Let's do 2B bracket stuff here too. And split it all up nice and clean.
Bracketology.
Yeah, but before we get to that, this podcast is brought to you by Global Septic, providing septic service and portable sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grays Harbor counties. If you feel things tense up and you need to, go drop one, maybe you're taking photographs at a basketball game and the referee stops.
I knew you were going to try to tie this into the Global Septic ad somehow, you asshole. I knew it.
To single you out specifically for wrongdoing. Get yourself a Global Septic portable sanitation station and flee the gym to hide in shame. Global Septic provides septic pumping, inspection, and riser installation, commercial septic pumping, grease trap services. They will rent you a porta potty and a sink to go along with it. Visit globalseptic.com. That's GOEBEL septic.com. Or give them a call at 360-736-2167. All right, take me through the 2B bracket. Which one do you have on top there?
I have the boys. So
all right, let's look at the boys. Napavine is the number 1.
They're number 2 on the boys' side. Columbia Burbank was the 1. So as we kind of mentioned at the top, teams 1 through 8 will be playing for a spot in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
The losers are still in Spokane, but they just have to start in the round of 12. So Napavine will play St. George's at WF West on Saturday at noon.
Did you guys see Madam Web lately?
I've not seen that yet.
All I've heard are terrible things about that movie.
Do you know one of the actresses in that film attended St. George's High School in Spokane?
Way. Oh,
I take it back. I'm sorry.
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney is from St. George's.
Yeah.
And if you, never mind. What are the? What are the rest of
It's
the?
a fun fact, Aaron. Thanks.
Our other 2B boys team
I learned
is
something new today.
Adna, who is slated at 10. So they will also be at WF West on Saturday at 6 p.m.
Oh, did they put these out already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Against LaConner, and loser out game.
All right.
So.
And where did Tudor Lake land?
Tudor is the 6, and they are headed to Spokane to face Colfax.
Do we want to discuss why Tudor Lake is 6 and Adna is 10?
Because Tudor Lake had played better people. I butchered that, but you explained it to me earlier.
Yeah, you had this
Strength
question.
of schedule.
Are you just throwing out like
what?
rankings buzzwords?
Yeah.
Like you watched one college football, one college game day, and you're like,
yeah, I'm kind of having a brain fart at the moment.
The committee. No, Tudor Lake is number 6 and Adna is 10 because you look at their district tournament performances, and yes, Adna did finish second, but they also lost to Napavine by 30, while Tudor Lake played within 10 of them. And you know, Tudor Lake would have had a much tougher road to get to the finals, while Adna beat Toledo, which had upset Wahkiakum and then lost to Wahkiakum later.
And Adna went through Ilwaco, which, yes, they were the P2BL champs, I believe, but compared to some of the teams that Tudor played.
Yeah. So Adna's run to the district finals was they beat Ilwaco and beat Toledo, which like that's all well and good, but neither of those teams are in state, are they?
Yeah.
Okay. While Tudor Lake lost to Napavine and then beat.
They beat Chief Leschi in the third place game.
And Chief Leschi is also going to state.
Yep.
So Adna's got LaConner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which anything on that bracket that really stands out is you're like, ooh.
Wahkiakum at 12.
Yeah, you could.
That was a little lower than I was expected. They're below Adna. They're going to be playing Liberty.
Okay. All right. I'm in on that.
Yeah, that surprised me a little bit. I thought they'd be maybe even above Adna.
Where they're at 12.
They're going to play at WF West.
Okay.
On that's Saturday at 10 a.m. Liberty.
Oh, I like Wahkiakum in that game.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be fine. Just fine.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What's let me take a look at that. Let me see this bad boy. Ooh, Leschi's got Burbank, Tudor Lake, Colfax, Tri-Cities Prep Lake, Roosevelt. All right. That Tenasket Coopville game. A lot of people lining up for that one. Yeah, these look good. Things will be fine. All right. Well, girls bracket.
Napavine is the one.
Okay.
And they will be playing Mabton at WF West on Saturday too. And if you guys remember, over winter break, Mabton and Brewster came over and played doubleheaders with Napavine and Rainier. Mm-hmm. So Napavine's actually beat Mabton earlier this season by about 20. And outside of a lull in the second quarter, it was pretty much all Tigers.
Okay.
Adna, Rainier. Rainier's the 5. Adna's the 6.
Okay.
I'm sure the head-to-head came into that. Rainier beat Adna 2 of the 3 times, including in the district tournament. Rainier's going to Colfax.
Ugh.
And Adna is going to play Okanagan and Wenatchee.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I know I got those long drives. But you know what? They're going to Spokane anyway. So, yeah, that's fine. Let me take a look at this bracket. Who was Banish talking about an East Side 2B team that has like a D1 player on it?
I think that's Colfax, I want to say.
Is that Colfax? That would make sense.
I think so. What's their seed?
Colfax is a 4 seed.
Yeah, I believe it's Colfax has a girl who has like a whole bunch of D1 offers.
And
I watched her. I would like compare her kind of like, it would be like putting Julia Dallin in the 2B. Dallin.
Oh, is she a big?
Yeah, she's pretty tall. Just no one can shoot anything in the paint without her just swatting it.
Well, that must be nice.
No one can guard her, yeah.
We joked about committee and college football rankings and buzzwords. Banish kind of joked, it's kind of a tough to be the 6 with only 2 losses is kind of a tough draw.
Yeah, he compared himself to Georgia.
He just said for Georgia football, we lost at the wrong time.
God, Adna Okanagan, I feel like we've seen that one a dozen times. Over the years, of course. So, yeah, those are all both teams automatically going to Spokane games. If you win, I don't know, knowing like Banish and Shoots and, well, particularly those two, like they probably gamed out the system already about like, where will we be if we lose this game? Where if we win? competitive fellas.
Are you saying they might throw games on purpose in the region?
No, I'm not saying they would throw games on purpose. I'm saying they have thought about the implications of what would happen if perhaps that would, not that they would intentionally do it. They're like, well,
Is there situations where it would pay to lose that game?
I don't know. Those teams have some competitors. I don't think they would.
Yeah.
There were a number of years ago, and I think this was before seeding committees or anything, where you were still, based on your district finish, entered into a specific spot in the bracket. Mm-hmm. Certain to-be coaches in the District 4 would game out the bracket and be like, well, if we lose this third, fourth place game, we'll have a much better draw and come out flat, quote, none of our local coaches. But other coaches.
Anymore. No current local coaches?
No. No. But yeah, that was a thing that was rumored to happen from time to time.
Okay.
Yeah, looking over the rest of this bracket, I don't know. Tudor Lake plays LaConner in Chehalis on whatever February 24th is, probably a Saturday.
This is also something that I want to touch on real quick. I know Josh used to say this too, but these third place games were both teams already in state. Like, I understand it's important for seeding purposes for the committee.
But is it though?
That's another thing too. So a Tudor Lake girl got an elbow to the head. Long story short, ended up needing 10 stitches. And that's another thing Banish touched on. He's like, I mean, we play these games and it's like, you just don't want somebody to get hurt. And that's exactly what happened. And
yeah, they're pointless games.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a reason you'd bring in more ticket revenue. You get more games to, fine tune things, put whatever else you want out on film. But like, for all intents and purposes, they don't matter for seeding. Yeah. Once they brought in seeding committees and changed it to that method of determining your playoff matchups, they became, pointless. Let's see. Shall we move to the 2As?
Yeah, that one's pretty simple.
All right.
How many 2A teams we got going to state?
Two. WF West and also WF West.
And WF West.
The WF West girls won their first district title in 6 years, which seems like a long time.
It does. They are in the district final.
Yeah, they lost. I think they lost like 3 in a row at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, first time in 6 years, they beat Columbia River 54-41 with about 4 minutes left. They were tied at 39, but the Bearcats went on a 11-0 run and won it going away. Julia Dalen scored 24 with 14 rebounds and 5 blocks. Dylan Beck added 12 points. Dylan and Kody were there.
Julia Dalen's insane. I was sitting there and I was like, she's going to get hers, obviously, but I was sitting there and I was like, Columbia River's doing a really decent job of like limiting her. And then I tallied all up at the end and I was like, never mind.
I think,
good Lord.
They held her like below her average, probably.
Yeah, I think she only
24 games.
She had like 10 in the first half, but I was like,
yeah,
14 rebounds, 5 blocks, no big deal, whatever.
She is so good that you can just look at, like, I don't think I've seen her play in person, but you could just look at the pictures and be like, oh yeah, she's really good. Like, you just see how she's moving under the hoop.
Yeah, that's really funny. Is all the pictures I have of her, she's like a foot and a half above all the girls.
Yeah, and she's just doing like an up and under kind of, and just like
very athletic
smooth
basketball moves.
Yeah, the height is one thing, but what she does with it is, it's unstoppable.
She's tall and she's not like, she's like proportionate.
Yeah, being as tall as her could easily get her 10 points in any game. But the athleticism is what gets the 30-point games.
Yeah, so WF West, let's just jump into their state bracket right here before we get to the boys. All right. Who do they play? They are the 3 seed.
They are hosting Archbishop Murphy.
Oh, Archbishop Murphy. Interesting.
6.
I know nothing about their girls basketball team.
I also know nothing about their girls basketball team. Ellensburg, no surprise, is the one. I still don't think they've lost. They got a little bit of a scare in their district tournament, if I remember correctly, but then kind of just pulled away at the end. Other C2BL teams.
District 4 teams.
District 4 teams. All over the place. Are there any other District 4
Columbia
teams?
River's in there. There's got to be one more. Did Tumwater make it?
Where's
Black
Columbia
Hills?
River? Oh, I'm staring at it. They're the 8. They're right up top.
Yeah.
No Tumwater, no Black Hills. Mark Morris is at 13.
What did WFS beat Mark Morris by in the first round? Like, A lot.
Yeah. A lot.
If I were WF West, I would have been much happier with the 4 seed over the 3. Just because actually, let me see that. Maybe not. I got to figure this out. Does the 3 wind up on the same side as, let's see, winner 1 goes here. Which is great podcasting. 3 goes here.
3 and the 2 end up
they're
on the
good.
same
Okay.
side.
I kind of honestly forgot we were on a podcast there for a minute.
No, they're in a good spot with the 3. If they win, they will. If them and Ellensburg,
just bros talking brackets,
just endless paper, just shuffling. You just let me see here.
I have the documents right here. Yeah, they will be on an opposite side of the bracket from Ellensburg, which I'm sure is exactly what they want. Good spot for them.
That would be a really fun potential state title game.
Yeah, as it lines up now, if everything goes chalk, they would face Linden in the semifinals, which I'm sure would be a fun matchup.
Also fun, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that was the 2A girls bracket. On the 2A boys side, did you push a button?
No, I didn't. I don't remember what they
chickened
do.
out halfway through, didn't you?
Let's just guess one.
All right.
Ready? Yeah.
2A boys.
That's the red button.
Okay.
Yeah, the WF West boys are also going to state. They beat Tumwater 58-51 in a winner to state game on Thursday. How many times did they play Tumwater this year? 3?
I believe 3.
Did they win all 3?
2 and 1. I think Tumwater took the first one.
Okay. 3 seniors led the way. Lucas Hoff, Parker Eiswald, and Tyler Klatouche combined for 53 and WF West 58 points. Pretty good. Dylan, you were there.
Yeah, WF West came out hot. I think it was 10-1 by the first time out of the game. Tumwater kind of clawed back, even took a lead at one point late in the third, but the offense just went cold in the fourth, and WF West did enough.
Okay. Riveting stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty chalk. I mean, in that first game, I think it was back in December, where Tumwater did a really good job of really like clogging passing lanes for WF West, especially inside. And in the last 2, I don't think I was at the second. Josh might have been there, but I'm assuming it went better in the second, and it definitely went better in this third matchup. They were able to get inside pretty much at will for most long stretches of the game. So,
all right. How'd they wind up in the bracket?
They are the 15 out of 16.
That is pretty low. Who are they playing? The 10 seed?
The 10 seed Sammamish, and they will play in Issaquah on Saturday.
I don't know where any of those things are.
I think they're up north.
No, I know they're up north somewhere.
Somewhere up there. Other District 4 teams, Mark Morris got the 6. R.A. Long got the 14. Columbia River got the 12. Fun little note here. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. If Mark Morris loses and R.A. Long wins their respective regionals, they will meet in a round of 12 matchup.
I bet they're so upset about that.
Sounds fun to me. If we got any fans from down south listening, I'm sure it sounds
so the
to you
District
as well.
4 champion got the 6th seed, and then the rest of them were in the teens.
Yep.
The committee does not think highly of District 4.
Not
Not really.
surprised.
It doesn't really look
4.
like it.
Yeah, not totally surprising given how, I mean, I know RPI is kind of whatever, but.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's bad about the RPI.
How dare you? All right. Yeah. Good luck to them against Sammamish in Issaquah on Saturday.
Yeah, if they win 10, they will play the loser between Grandview and Rogers out of Spokane.
We're just making things up now.
Yeah, why are there 2 John H. Rogers high schools in the
Are
state?
there 2?
I don't know.
There's also
One's in
2.
Puyallup.
There's also 2 West Valleys, I think.
Let's get a little more creative here.
Well, every valley has a west side. I mean,
They also have an east side.
yeah.
Every Virginia has a
north
west
side?
as well.
All right. This podcast brought to you by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia. I'm just going to take a quick look at their website and see if they got any sweet Valentine's Day specials or anything. I know that's maybe in the President's Day sale.
specials, yeah.
Save up to $900 on a. I got to reboot it.
I know where we're going after the pod, guys.
On all Serta Eye Comfort Eco mattresses when paired with a motion perfect adjustable base. That sounds like a great time.
Dang.
Visit elamshf.com to shop now. They've also got everything you need to decorate and accommodate your living room, bedroom, dining room, entertainment center, and your home office. All the best brands: Scandinavian Sleep Systems, Serta, Southern Motion, Stanton, Steinworld, Steve Silver Company. All the best stuff. You have a breaking news announcement, or what do you?
No, this is a great Elam's ad.
Yeah, what a banger. Anyway, visit their showroom at 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia, or check them out online, elamshf.com. Moving on to the 1Bs, Mossy Rock went back to back. The boys won their first district title in 52 years, which is a stat so specific and so massive it has to be true. And the girls won a district title as well. Did they win it last year? They won it last year.
They did.
Yeah.
They won like 3 of the last 4.
Don't remember who they beat, but they did beat somebody. I don't know.
Yeah. You don't know who they beat Saturday, or?
They beat Hull on Saturday. I don't know. I don't remember who they beat last year.
Who'd the boys beat? Columbia Adventist? Nacelle.
Yeah, Nacelle.
Yeah.
Nacelle. They crushed them. They doubled them up.
Yeah.
Even more than doubling them up.
Yeah. Two big wins for Mossy Rock there. The Mossy Rock boys won 3 in a row, beat Oakville and Nacelle, the 2 league champions at District 4, to win their title. The girls only needed 2 wins to win their second straight. That bracket is such a... What are we doing? They need like a bracket consultant or something. So confusing, so complicated. And also that tournament lasts like 3 weeks. I feel like it started in like New Year's.
Yeah, February 5th was the first round games.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a full... For sakes.
Because they got to travel so far.
To be fair, the 2B tournament started on the 3rd.
Yeah, but that's like a real tournament. Like you can look at it.
You actually play like
this
5-6 games.
Real tournament.
Yeah, the 1B tournament is just like a Mortal Kombat ladder you climb up.
Mossy Rock didn't play until the 12th.
Yeah, so they
had like 2 or 3 weeks off.
A full week. I don't know. There's a better way to do that. Congrats to the Mossy Rock boys. Who? What kind of seed did they get to state? They were fairly high, weren't they? Like a 5?
They were top 8. They're at the 7.
Okay.
They'll go to Cheney to play Welpinit.
Oh, okay.
Number 2.
That's last year's state champ.
Was it?
Welpin, yeah.
All right. Good for them.
Sure.
Yeah, they seem like they're having a pretty solid season. They get a good team.
Yeah, they have a really well-rounded team. Zach Munoz, we're trying to figure out for sure. The previous coach wasn't super consistent on sending stats in. He might have hit 1,000 points. We're trying to narrow that down for sure. But Easton Cove, Hunter Isom, they got some guys there, and I think they are deserving of a top 8 seed.
Yeah. Let's see, and then on the girls' side, let me see. Let me see.
We got one more. We got one more boys thing. The Oakville is in the 19.
Oh, they did. What?
They got 4th in the district tournament, and they have to essentially play 2 loser out games to make it to.
It's not a. How did you make it only do half of it?
I don't know.
All right, so Oakville is indeed the 19 seed. They will play at Wilbur Creston Keller High School on tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
The winner of that game. 20 teams in this one. All right.
I think one of the 3A brackets is like that too, but obviously we don't have any 3A teams.
Oh yeah, that is the 3A thing too. The winner of that moves on to play Saturday in Auburn against Muckleshoot Tribal.
It's a real grind to make it out of the round of 20.
Yeah, and then if you win that one,
you go to another loser out.
16, I believe.
7. Yeah, then you will play the Cusick Moses Lake Christian Covenant Christian. What the hell is this?
1B, baby.
This is just wild. This is insane. All right.
Someone listening from Cusick is not going to be happy with you there.
They will be just as confounded as I am. But anyway, Mossy Rock, even if they lose that game, they will be playing winner number 6, which is either Northport, Summit Classical Christian, or Soap Lake. Okay. You know what? Mossy Rock's going to be in Spokane. You guys will have a lot of fun with them, I'm sure. Tom's great to work with. He's hilarious. And then Kelly Ross is the assistant coach, and he always has a great grip on things for stats and any info you need.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to have a blast. Congrats to Mossy Rock. And how about the Mossy Rock girls? What, after playing 2 games to win a district title over the last month, how are they rewarded by the seeding committee?
10.
All right.
We're not given a top 8 spot, but they're in the 10. They'll play at WF West on Friday.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is a regular old 16.
This is the regular 16.
This is This is a commonplace top 8 advanced to state, while the bottom 8 are fighting for their lives in a Hunger Games situation.
Imagine if like the NBA did this.
No.
That's something. So Mossy Rock, they'll host Evergreen Lutheran at WF West on Friday.
Okay.
And then the PL girls are also playing on Friday. They were given the 16.
Oh, let's talk. We forgot about the PL girls talking about district stuff. No, you get the. This is for the PL girls. Which one of you remembers off the top of your head the score of their game over Willapa Valley to make it to state?
PL 27, Willapa Valley 21.
Hell yeah.
I believe it was 10-8 at halftime.
Just grinded it out.
Defensive battle.
I was pulling through the box score to lay out the page, and I was like, where's the rest of this box score? This
is the first half. Yeah.
Didn't they lose to, like, their first round game? They lost to Valley?
They beat Nacelle, and then they lost to Tahola, who ended up losing to Mossy Rock.
Okay.
In the final.
Right.
But then they won 2 straight loser out games. They first beat Merriam Knight, and then they beat Valley to get to state. So they had to go the long way.
Yeah, that's, you know what? Good for them. That's awesome. Just grind them down, hold another team to 21 points and win a state game. Yeah. That's awesome. Peel's in. That's cool. That's the first time in a while for them, I think. What are they looking at in the bracket?
They are looking at as the number 16. They are looking at number 9 Sunnyside Christian in Grandview on Friday.
Okay, that's heading out like Yakima way, I guess.
Somewhere out there. I think it's in between Yakima and the Tri-Cities.
Okay.
So yeah, that as the 16 is an uphill climb against the 9, but
I mean, the 1B tournament, when you get into that 9 to 16, I'm rooting for PL, of course.
That's what I said, yeah.
Hell yeah.
As a journalist, I'm not obligated to root. I'm just kidding.
You gotta vote for PL. If you score 27 points in a winner to state game and make it to state, hell yeah. That's awesome. Just think if like the Napine and the boys game been 27-21. James Gross scores 19 points. Impossible.
I'm sure it was electric though.
Oh, yeah. That game? Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
If you would have pulled your little photo stunt at that game, the ref would have just walked over and kicked you square in the balls.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you imagine how hype a 3-pointer would be when both teams are in like the teens in the third quarter?
You just increase the score by 10%.
It's a walk-off 3 in the third quarter. No, that's awesome. That rules.
Good for PL, man.
Yeah, that's sick.
We're not making fun of you guys. We're happy for you.
No, absolutely. I'm legit.
Yeah.
That's just grit right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So who are Monster Girls playing?
Evergreen Lutheran.
Okay.
At
and they're in
WF
Chehalis on Friday.
I think every local game is in Chehalis, which makes sense.
Yeah, that's the District 4 host site. That and like Mark Morris sometimes. And finally, at the 1A level, before we get to the 1As, we're going to talk AmeriCool, heating and cooling. Cody, were you feeling the pressure a little bit? Feeling a little hot under the collar that game Saturday? Just think about making the call to our friends at AmeriCool Heating and Cooling.
What would you do for ads if I wasn't on this podcast?
I don't. This is why we need you on here, because it's just like
he comes in. He's like, "Is Cody coming for the pod?" I was like, "I believe so," and now I know why.
Yeah. You're a good guy to like bounce shit off of.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. AmeriCool Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is their business. They provide full-service HVAC installation services and repair with a 100% satisfaction guarantee with everything they do.
Just like us.
There you go. Something about that chair. You can visit them online at west.americoolonline.com, or if you have an emergency too hot or too cold situation, you can give them a call at 360-559-6677. They serve Western Washington. And, all the HVAC stuff you might need. All right. And finally, we'll get to the 1As. Tenino won 2 home games to secure a spot in regionals / the opening round of the state playoffs, but they lost to Seton Catholic in the district championship game. This was in Hoquiam?
Yes.
Friday. Saturday. Noah Scow scored 25 with 11 rebounds. Austin Gagne scored 20 with 14 rebounds. Is that what those guys average? It feels like every game it's like
they got to average double doubles. And
sure.
Gagne too. To win league, this is getting a few weeks ago, but to win league, they played Elma. And my understanding is Ganya was as sick as a dog, and he kind of fought through the day just because you got to go to school, obviously, to play in the game that day. And they were all very quick to credit him, and he looked just tired after. But he balled out, and he balled out in this game, but it was not just a little short.
Yeah. What's the bracket look like here?
They snuck into the top 8, so they're the 8, which means they will go to Davis and Yakima to play unbeaten Zilla.
Oh, Zilla's always good.
Yeah, they're 23 though, so that tracks. Seton Catholic, who beat them in the district final, is the 7.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Which makes sense. That tracks. Montesano is the 12. I think that's all the District 4 teams here. Take a peek at that and see if there's anything else that's notable to you.
What else hops out here? Seton Catholic's got to play Linden Christian. Linden Christian, pretty good. Let's see. Seattle Academy, Freeman, Kings, Life Christian.
Yeah,
I've examined the documents. Nothing else too notable here. If Tenino, beating Zilla, that's
a tough task.
Yeah, that's a tough draw.
But being the 8, I'm sure they'll take being the 8 over having to be the 9 and win a loser out.
Yeah, if they lose that Zilla game, not saying that that's what's going to happen, but if they should, they would play either Lakeside or Kings. Kings, that's tough too. So yeah, I don't know. That's cool for Tenino. They haven't been in like state proper in quite some time.
I want to say 2007.
Yeah, that was
I think 7.
Yeah, probably.
Because it was their first league title since 13, but I don't think they made it out of districts in that year.
I feel like they made regionals in like 2011 or something. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see them over there.
On to Nino.
Yeah. I don't know. With her too, like they got a solid inside game, right? You know?
Yeah, Jack Burkhart's gotten more healthy as the year's gone along. It's really helped them kind of take that next step. I think that was the difference for them in this back half of the year, even if it didn't end in a district title day. The first 10 and the last 10 with Burkhart. It was a clear difference.
And that's the kind of thing like that travels well. That'll translate well
Absolutely.
over in Yakima. A lot of teams, of course, have shooting woes early on, playing in a bigger dome. Yeah, I guess it's a Sun Dome. Obviously, it's a dome. But you know, Tenino, they should be fine over there. What else we got going on? We covered wrestling. We covered a bunch of the basketball stuff.
Baseball and softball get going here in the next couple of weeks before we know it.
Oh, God.
I haven't really done any look ahead to that yet, but I know it's coming.
You've been busy, folks.
Yeah, Cody's worked so much he's on a pitch count.
I'm not allowed to work.
Sure. He's not here till Wednesday. I told him to pod.
Today or tomorrow.
What are you guys' plans for next weekend? Friday, Saturday? Just covering all the Shayless games?
Probably. Is there games all day at WFS?
Saturday there will be.
Saturday, yeah.
I'd have to look at the schedule again to be sure, but I think there's 5 games at WF West across Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Nice.
So probably more of a focus on the loser out games, like a heavier dose, games. But we'll definitely have coverage of all 5.
And are you guys both going to Spokane?
Yes. As is NVN's Dylan Ruby King.
Oh yeah, the other Dylan. We should have brought him up for this.
Oh, he would have loved this.
It would have been confusing. Too many Dylans.
Yeah, he can only talk about Rainier.
He's just not have any other idea about what's going on.
No, none. He's the beat writer for the Rainier girls.
It's just a Rainier savant.
Yeah.
And they know him. He knows them, and they know him. One of the dads, I might have told this on the last pod, or maybe I was just telling it to people around the office.
They call him Duck, right?
Yeah, like some dad walked up to him and was like, "Sup, Duck?" And he turns to me and he calls me Duck. And I was like, okay, sure.
Cool.
He clearly is around, and they know him, and he knows them.
He's part of the Rainier community. We had to take him to Spokane.
Have you guys been to Spokane before?
I have. For basketball. I've gone to the tournament every year for a long time.
Oh, nice. Well, you guys are going to have a great time.
Dylan's a newbie. I got to show him around Spokane.
Do you have a fake ID?
No.
Well, then you're going to have a hard time showing him all the cool stuff in Spokane.
Can't wait to see the Red Robin in Spokane.
Yeah. I'm hyped for the Texas Roadhouse, baby.
Ooh, we're definitely hitting that at least twice. I'll print you guys off directions to some better places. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks, guys. You did great work this weekend. All your stuff from WF West was quite good. Photos were good.
Thank you, Aaron, for taking care of wrestling.
Yeah.
I did
extremely helpful.
Shut down some stats and whatnot, but
both times Dylan noticed you wrote up wrestling, he was jumping for joy in the office. I've never seen him so happy.
This is really appreciated.
It's Monday afternoon. Tuesday's paper has a 12-page sports section, and the front page of Maine is all sports too. So pick that up. A lot of good stuff, and we'll talk to you guys.
Probably won't be back till after the state tournament, I'd assume. Unless we want to do a short one about the final matchups in Yakima and Spokane on Monday.
We'll be back.
New guy.
Don't tease people like that. We'll do one once regionals are done before state. Maybe
state preview.
See about getting a guest on or something.
Okay.
All right. That's it.